to the pre-show before the free show. Hello.
Oh, who, me?
You never wear your gray polo.
I'm sorry. It was clean.
I'm just saying it's different.
Other things were clean, to be clear, but this was a thing that was clear. I look very red. Maybe it's because I was in the sun all weekend. Okay.
Were you actually in the sun all weekend?
Of course not.
Didn't think
A
so.
strange thing happened yesterday.
Yeah, it didn't happen where I live.
The sky started crying.
I know. I was really sad that I didn't get to see the sky cry.
This is 100% true. I was upstairs in my office working on Sunday, as I'm wont to do. I'm just sitting there working on stuff. And, like, I heard this noise. And I was like, what? What is that?
What's coming through my air conditioning, you know?
Well, yeah, exactly. I was like, I'm dead serious. I did not
even
it did not register with me that was a possibility.
Yeah, no.
And then I looked outside, and I will be concerned, gosh darned, it was raining.
Yeah, I didn't know until I happened to get on Twitter at one point, and I saw both you and Step tweet about the fact that it was raining, and I was like, what? So I opened the windows because I was watching Texas Football Tonight back, and I opened the windows, and I was like, if it rains, I'm not going to miss it. I'm so excited, and then it never rained.
My wife and Hank were at the library getting books. And they came home, and I saw them pulling into the driveway, and I ran downstairs, and I said, Hank, we're going out in the rain. Sure enough, we just stood out there, and this poor kid just, like, trying to catch raindrops on his tongue. Like, wah. I'm like, yeah, we have been we've been beaten down, most certainly. Speaking of beaten down, let's talk about Friday night.
Yeah.
If you didn't see, but judging by the numbers, a lot of you did.
Yeah, a ton of people saw it.
A lot of people did. Did you worry? Were you worried? There's like, oh no, people are going to watch the show?
No, and it's funny because I'm not going to say the total number of viewers, but the numbers that you have are not indicative because we stream to YouTube also, so it's a much bigger number than what's there.
That is on TexanLive.com only. But yeah, Texas football. Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight is a thing. It's launched. We have a show in the can that you've done.
Yeah, we did it. We actually did it. It was awesome. To everyone who watched, first off, thank you for bearing with us. There were some technical difficulties here and there. That was to be expected for week one of a 2.5-hour show. But man, let me tell you, those North Texas students, we didn't get to do a dry run with them. Like, we met them for the first time on Tuesday. We said, here's your position. Do you know how to do this or not? If they did, great. If they didn't, we walked them through it and then said, all right, we'll see you Friday, and we're going to put on a 2.5-hour long show. And their eyes are about this big. And my goodness, what an unbelievable job that they did.
I texted you this because I was watching a decent amount of it whenever I could while I was at the Bally Studios. I noticed like 2 or 3 small technical things, but they are 100% within the realm of the type of things that you would see on the Bally show on Friday night. Of just like, they're just like, it's technical things that happen on live TV. Like it's just normal stuff. So I thought it was fabulous, and it was you guys. There is a clip I think you retweeted about of
funny. The
Nick.
quad box.
You gotta say Nick's last name.
Laupius. Yeah. We call him Laup every now and then. If you wanna.
That's bad. That's a bad nickname.
Laupius.
But you guys came back from break, and you guys were at a quad box, and
it's awesome.
4 different games going on at once, and he essentially like exclaimed almost apologetically like, we're in a quad box.
That was the moment that Nick realized, like, that was the first time we had used quad box. We were super excited about quad box. We were ready to go, and I was like, all right, you kind of cracked the knuckles.
Take a look at the watch. You're
let's
like,
go, boys, it's quad box time. And so Nick goes, all right, it's here. And then you see him realize, like, oh crap, it's here.
It's here.
Quad box is my new favorite thing.
It was a great show.
Thank you. Yeah, real real huge shout out to everyone who worked on that thing behind the scenes. That was a lot of work for a lot of chaos to get that going. But our director, Seth Biley, and our assistant director, Blaine Tatum, deserve some huge credit there. Vianney Moreno from our staff, Gavin Moritz, Chase Snyder, Trevor Bullard, Mallory Hartley, everybody that worked tirelessly. And then Ish making his analyst debut there did a heck of a job, and it was really fun. It was a really fun thing to put together.
And here's the great news. You had like 8 months to plan that one.
Now you've got
5 days to do another one.
But I will say we're already planning out we've already got our spotlight games figured out. We'll announce them on WTF again this week, but it is another unbelievable slate of games coming up this week.
Friday night, Texas football tonight on TexanLive.com. And then it's on YouTube. Are you guys doing it on YouTube every week too?
Yep.
TexanLive.com and on YouTube. So make sure you go check it out. Anyway, hit the theme expo. Oh my gosh. Pickle! Hit the air sign. Y'all, from the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Lewisville, Texas, it's Dave Campbell's Texas Football Today, a show online. My name's Greg Tepper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine. TexasFootball.com, a corresponding website. Thank you for spending a part of your day with us. Whether you're watching us live, TexasFootball.com, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, all the places, or you'll listen to us on the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local mediocre internet show. I am sitting over there at the helm today, making us sound good. She's the Duchess of the Dork. She's the executive producer of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, the host of Dave Campbell's Women Talking Football.
True.
Miss 305, she's Ashley Pickle.
Howdy, team. We got to plan a podcast this week.
Yeah, remember that?
A lot of shows. Just so many shows.
We're going to be a little busy this season. A little busy. Today is Monday, August 28th, 2023, 87 days till Thanksgiving. Happy birthday to Armie Hammer. Armie Hammer, the actor, turns 37 today. Armie Hammer, his real name is Armand Hammer.
Like the baking soda?
So we're just doing bits with our kids' names.
Is he related to MC Hammer? See what I did there? Because that's not his real name.
I don't think MC Hammer's real name is...
Well...
MC.
The other guy's name's Army.
I don't have a real counterpoint to that. Episode 1637. On today's show, folks, big Monday show. We're back. We're back.
Whether you wanted us to be or not.
We've got the brand new and improved Monday Morning Fallout. Then we'll be joined by the head coach of the Alvin, Iowa Colony Pioneers, Coach Ray Garza, as the Pioneers got a real... I'll ask him on the show if that's the biggest win in program history. It's not their first. They went like 2-8 last year in their inaugural varsity season. But they are...
Oh, I was sitting here cheering them on.
They beat a private school state champion in Fort Bend Christian.
Yeah. We just hung out with Coach Ray Garza when we went down for Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight shoot. So we were down there, and he was pumped up for the season, but we were cheering on our Pioneers. We will we'll talk to Coach Ray Garza coming up here in just a moment, and then back half of the show, we will unveil the Week 2 Dave Campbell's Texas Football Associated Press statewide Texas high school football rankings exclusively here on Texas Football Today. It's a big old Monday show. We call it Big Monday around here. Correct. Do we have first four through the door? We sure do. I was so ready to hit that theme intro. I forgot. Ed McElroy, Aaron Arbuckle, Daniel Agnew, and Zill0678. Welcome in, friends. Welcome in, friends. It's Monday here in the season, and folks who have been with us for 8 years know that on Monday we have the same segment every Monday where we like to recap the weekend, but we always start the same way. Pickle! Hit the air. It's time for Monday Morning Fallout.
Monday morning fallout. When we overreact to the football weekend, tons to overreact to. A lot to overreact to. And including, I'm sure some of you in the comments will overreact to the new format of Monday morning fallout. So let's get to overreacting. We start things with my opening thought. My opening thought is that this is the worst week of data.
Oh, yeah.
We know how you feel, okay? We, too, have been waiting for 8 months. 8+ months, like almost 9 months.
Yep.
Rounding up 9 months for football. And finally, we had a big old stupid slate of games.
Yeah,
718, something like that. Just like a giant, enormous group of games. I'm here to tell you, I'm going to tap the sign. Don't make me tap the sign. We can't overreact to this week, okay? This is, without a doubt, week 1, the worst set of data that you can draw wide-ranging conclusions from. Now, if you won, feel good. If you lost, feel bad. If you won, I guess. I don't know. What I'm here to tell you is that week 1 has so many different factors that go into it that I do not think are indicative or predictive going forward. 1, it's the first stinking week. And teams play sloppy, and teams play with emotion, and
it's hot.
Teams just don't perform, right? Or they do perform. 2, it's hot. We had the NSN Waxahachie game on Bally Sports Southwest, and in the third quarter, fourth quarter, there were 5 or 6 times where the game had to get stopped because we're cramping up. Okay? There were games that we tried to anticipate that was like that and ended up being exactly like that, of like teams that were smaller that got worn down. Hitchcock and Refugio is a perfect example of that. Refugio was up, led for most of that game, but I think Hitchcock wore them down and eventually came back. The Heat is part of that. And furthermore, it's only 1 week of data, and we have no way of triangulating these results. Okay? So, Cibolo Steel went out there and was one. We'll talk about them in a moment. They were one of the most impressive teams in the state this weekend. What they did to San Antonio, Brennan, was absolutely remarkable. Yeah. And if you want to get excited about San Antonio, Cibolo Steel, I'm here to get excited with you. However, we don't know what Brennan's going to be. We don't know. And so all I'm asking you to do, hold back just a little bit. I know we all want to jump to conclusions. We all want to get our mat out and do the jump to conclusions mat. We don't have to. We can wait for more data. Just consider all that. So that is my opening thought. Game of the week. Did you see what happened out there in East Texas? What a debut. What a debut for the Tyler Lions under their new head coach, Rashawn Woods, as they play a 5-overtime thriller with Marshall, 38-36. This game was nuts. Marshall, I believe, scored the final 14 points, including a touchdown on 4th and goal at the 8 with under a minute left to send it to overtime. Then they just decided to play 5 more overtimes before eventually Tyler pulled away with the win. Caden Granberry found sophomore running back Ashton Ariage for the 2-point conversion in the 5th overtime to give Rashawn Woods his victory as in his debut as Tyler High head coach.
Well, people have been saying how much they miss football. How about 5 overtimes?
How about
for
you get like extra football, like
that's free
out
football.
Out there. But Tyler gets the win in what was the game of the week. Tyler 38, Marshall 36 in 5 overtimes. It's time for a new segment, Pickle. It's time for the hashtag Dudes Rock.
I did not put
Dude
that
of the week. Hashtag Dudes Rock. Please let us know which dudes duded.
Yep, this
the
is
hardest.
exactly. This is karma.
Which dudes duded the most?
Duded is just
in
not
a state
sound
full
good.
of dudes. It's Dude of the Week, and this week's Dude of the Week. This week's Dude of the Week is Duncanville wide receiver DeCorian Moore.
DeCorian Moore is a dude. I will agree with that.
Thank you. Let's give respect where it's due. DeCorian Moore is an absolute certified dude. What he did on Friday night Duncanville's win over South Oak Cliff was silly. 7 catches, 281 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Now, I know that South Oak Cliff has a lot of rebuilding to do in the secondary, but I don't care if he was doing that against the Dave Campbell's Texas football crew.
Oh, yeah.
7 catches, 281, and 3 touchdowns in the season opener. The LSU commit junior was on one, and that's why he's the week 1 dude of the week. And Hashtag dudes rock.
If you missed it, you can go back and watch his performance on TexanLive.com.
It was silly. He was absolutely in his bag. Time for my play of the week. Tepper's play of the week. Every Friday, I am going, or Saturday, I'll put out on my Twitter, @Tepper, asking for the play of the week. And if you saw a play that caught your eye that you thought was absolutely nuts, I want you to tweet it to me, @Tepper on Twitter. I'll sift through them. I will give them the due diligence that they deserve, and I will find Tepper's play of the week. There are a bunch of good ones, including, do you see the Westlake kicker kicked a 58-yard field goal? That was the runner-up. But the winner of the week 1 Tepper's play of the week has to be Abilene wide receiver Rylan Bradford. Insane. Abilene wide receiver Rylan Bradford. That footage courtesy of our friend Jacob Brandenburg, Brandenburg there at CBS 7 in Odessa.
Yeah, that was he mossed him.
So
I mean, my goodness.
Let me put some context on you. Pickle, that was the opening drive of the season.
Was it really?
I want you to think about starting your season with
a
one-handed moss for a touchdown. To stay on your feet, too.
I was fixing to say, and then it just kind of like watch the guy fall next to you.
Yes.
You know?
It was
that was a grown man's play.
Ridiculous play. And my play of the week in week 1 of Texas high school football. Now, to a new segment called of the Week. Pickle, did you see what happened down south?
Not a lot of scoring.
Lytle, the Pirates, and Carrizo Springs played a football game this weekend. And it was, to say it was a low-scoring affair is an understatement, because Lytle ends up coming away with a 3-0 victory. And the numbers are pretty strange, because it sounds like, and I don't want to go nuts because I don't have the full box score in front of me, Lytle had to have been bit by the turnover bug, because they ran the ball relatively effectively. They ran the ball for like 132 yards, which should get you. And their defense was great. They held Carrizo Springs just 87 yards on the ground. But this game goes into, I believe, the third quarter scoreless before Lytle kicks a field goal and then holds on for a win. There were only I think there were only 4 games last year that ended 3-0. In all of Texas high school football. And we got one right out of the chutes in week 1. I know defenses are supposed to be ahead of offenses in week 1, but that's a little taking it to the logical extreme, I would say. Lytle 3, Carrizo Springs gets my of the week. Now, Pickle.
Correct.
I'm very excited
this one
about
can
this
stay.
one. In the past, we've been proud to honor some of the best and brightest Texas high school football players, and who better to spot those guys than our own Matt Stepp in a segment we call the Matt Stepp He Got That Dog in Him Player of the Week.
And now, the Matt Stepp He Got That Dog in Him Player of the Week.
This is Matt Stepp from the Alamo Dome in San Antonio with the week 1 Matt Stepp He Got That Dog in Him award winner. And it is none other than Somerset wide receiver Jaden Foz, who today hauled in a pair of touchdown catches and returned a kickoff for a touchdown. Jaden Foz, you, sir, have got that dog in you.
This has been the Matt Stepp He Got That Dog in Him Player of the Week.
Congratulations to Jaden Foz of Somerset. The week 1 winner of the Matt Stepp He Got That Dog in Him Player of the Week.
I have got to get a better handle on this show. Clearly, I've been distracted because
you
two are tanking this thing into the ground.
See, because here's the thing.
Just dive bombing.
I've had to take over a lot of the pre-pro work here on this show because Pickle's been very busy with Texas Football Tonight, which means it can now finally live up to my vision of what this show can be. Congratulations to Jaden Faz of Somerset, the Week 1 winner of the Matt Stepp. He got that dog in him Player of the Week.
This is on me.
Wild stat of the week. This was our friend. Oh, I always mispronounce his name. The guy at the Panola Watchman, who's really good. Ryan Ciplian, the guy who covers Carthage for the Panola Watchman. Silipin. Ryan Silipin tweeted on Friday night as Carthage defeats Kilgore 30-27 to start the year 1-0. Carthage, in their last 100 games, is now 98-2.
Oh my God! And the two of them were it wasn't state championship. It would have been 2 state semifinals.
Liberty. I would need to go back, but my guess is it's China Spring in 2021.
Correct, which was actually in the area regional semifinal round.
And Liberty Hill in the semifinals.
Yeah.
98-2 in their last 100 games. Ryan Silipin, of the Panola Watchman, let us know about that. Carthage's dominance just knows no bounds. That's your wild stat of the week. You have my attention, Sybil of Steel.
They look good.
We talked about this, and I know Matt Stepp he's been banging the drum on this, about how this is a huge opportunity for San Antonio because Sybil of Steel is absolutely loaded. And we spotlighted on the Picks video last week about how the season opener against San Antonio Brennan was going to be an opportunity for them to really turn a spotlight onto the San Antonio area. And I would say they did that. A thumping of San Antonio Brennan in all 3 phases. Now, Brennan is rebuilding, reloading, whatever you want to call it. But Sybil of Steel, you have my attention. Mm-hmm. Finally, my final thought. Let's talk about the new coaches who won big in Week 1. It was a good week overall for Week 1 for new coaches. Willie Gaston era at Galena Park North Shore begins with a win. They beat the Woodlands. I tweeted about this. Nacogdoches upset Palestine. I've been banging the drum about Darby House. I thought that was the hire of the offseason when Nacogdoches plucked him from Poteet, and he goes and gets a really big win. We mentioned Rashawn Woods there at Tyler, gets a big win there. Robbie Jones at Aledo. The Robbie Jones era at Aledo starts 1-0 with a win over Dallas Parish Episcopal. It was overall a very good week for new coaches who in their new places, and a lot of high profile coaches. But in the end, overall, when you take a look at the new coaches, I thought they really acquitted themselves well in Week 1. What will Week 2 hold? I guess we'll find out, and we'll be back to recap it next week on Monday Morning Fallout. We're Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe to become Dave Campbell's Texas Football subscriber. Coming up here in just a moment, we're going to hear from Iowa Colony head coach Ray Garza after their big win over Fort Bend Christian. But first, a word from these goods and services.
Born and bred in Texas hits a little different, as it should. Texas loves doing business with fellow Texans. VCR Now takes its Texas roots as seriously as its many partnerships with schools and universities around the state. It's also why we're so proud to promote our brand in the pages of the Texas Bible, Dave Campbell's Texas Football, and on the airwaves of Texas Football Today. Driven by producing quality broadcast video, state-of-the-art audio, and LED video scoreboards at affordable prices, VCR Now makes sure to listen to your needs in its athletic department before recommending the next best steps. Building great products is our business, and it's our focus on building meaningful, long-term partnerships with our clients that sets us apart. From our 24/7, 365-day help desk, the training lab in our hometown of Red Oak, or our sports marketing business plan that puts money back in the hands of our athletic departments we support, VCR Now is built to last. Reach out to us today at info@vcrnow.com or by calling 855-GO-VCR-NOW. Again, that's info@vcrnow.com or by calling 855-GO-VCR-NOW.
I feel like bustin' loose, bustin' loose. Come on, get on up. Oh yeah, get on up. Bustin' loose when you wanna sing. Bustin' loose, baby, do your thing. Talking about bustin' loose, yeah.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Potter, Executive Director of Be Well Texas. Too many people are struggling alone these days, and alcohol and drug deaths are increasing. We started Be Well Texas to offer high-quality, science-based addiction treatment and recovery services anywhere, even at home. We provide compassionate, caring support virtually or in person. In many cases, there is no cost for treatment if you don't have insurance. Really. Welcome to Be Well Texas. We're glad you're here.
Back here on Texas Football Today, it was a great week one of Texas high school football across the Lone Star State. It was especially good down there in Alvin ISD at Iowa Colony High School. Let's go to the Hotline Pickle and bring in the head coach of the 1-0 Iowa Colony Pioneers. We're joined by Coach Ray Garza. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. How are things down there in beautiful Iowa Colony?
Well, they're hot, but we're getting work in.
Yeah, well, that's kind of par for the course around the state these days. I want to go back to Thursday night. You guys go into your season opener against a defending private school state champion in Fort Bend Christian and come out with a 38-13 win. Second year as a varsity program. I know you guys went 2-8 last year, but is that the biggest result in your program's young history?
Yeah, it definitely was a big win for us. They're a great team to open up with. We opened up with them last year, and we still are young, but we were extra young last year. And they got us pretty good. So, it's really a good one to start with, especially since, we've had our off seasons and our boot camps and all these things we've been working towards. So, it's a good one to start with. I'm proud of our guys. I'm proud of all the work they put in and our coaches. So, happy for the outcome that we had last Thursday.
What kind of difference can you sense within your program about the attitude right now? Basically, what you saw last year as this very new program, just getting your feet underneath you, to now you've got a whole season underneath you. What kind of attitude adjustment has there been within the program?
Well, there's definitely more maturity within our team. Anyone that's had a bunch of freshmen, sophomores knows, you got to grow them mentally and physically. But the maturity level is a lot better. Leadership is definitely something that we've worked on within our programs that's really been showing up within our team. But really, I think the number one thing is the atmosphere or the mentality of family. Our kids had a big task on their plate last year to go out there and compete at the varsity level. We definitely, took some on the chin and we're tough in some tight games, so they were put through the fire. But just the camaraderie amongst our kids is fantastic right now. The concept of family is great within our locker room, so I would say that's probably one of the biggest differences that we've had.
Talking with Ray Garza, the head coach of the Iowa Colony Pioneers here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation, #TF Today. Coach, one guy who really jumps out the page whenever you start digging into what you guys were able to do on Thursday night is your sophomore quarterback, Cam Renfro, a guy who was played for you guys last year as a freshman, took his lumps, but certainly looked like he was in command of the offense on Thursday night. 146 yards, 2 touchdowns passing, another 95 yards and a score on the ground. What kind of growth have you seen from your sophomore quarterback, Cam Renfro, that has you excited?
Cam's just he's a great leader. He's a hardworking kid. He's been with us since day one. And, he has definitely put in the work to try to understand what we're trying to do within our schemes. He's a very coachable kid. So we're just lucky to have him back there to be playing quarterback for us.
The other side of this, Coach, is it's clear the kind of strides you guys have made defensively. I mean, Fort Bend Christian is they're replacing a couple key pieces, but that was an offense that really hummed last year, and you guys were able to hold them down to just 13 points. On the defensive side, what has you excited about your Pioneers?
Well, we have some really good coaches on both sides of the ball. I can't speak enough great things about them. We've got some really high character men that understand football and are great teachers. So the biggest difference that from last year and this year is our kids have a year within the system, and they have a year understanding what their 1/11th is on the field, and so understanding what you're supposed to do and believing in what your job is, I believe, is the number one thing on defense. You can't be selfish. You have to understand what your job is, what your assignment is, and you have to execute. And so our kids have really done a good job buying into that. We still have a lot to work on. I know it was a good to get a win last Thursday, but as coaches, you always go back, watch the film, grade it, and you're always looking at the things you need to do better. And we definitely have things that we need to get better at on both sides of the ball.
A couple more games in non-district, Coach. Kip Sunnyside upcoming this week, followed by Brookshire Royal and West Columbia before you guys get into district play. And I want to ask you a little bit about District 12 4A Division 1 because it is I'll tell you, for the new guys, it sure seems like the UIL is kind of bullying you with this district, throwing you in with some of the big boys, with Bay City, El Campo. I mean, Needville has been on the rise, Stafford as well. From your perspective, when you take a look at down the road in District 12 4A Division 1, when you guys get there, what do you see? What do you make of this district and you guys' place in it?
Well, it's definitely a tough district. We experienced that firsthand last year. There's a lot of good football played within our district. There's some really good coaches. There's some programs in there that have a lot of tradition, which is also something that you have to experience when you're going up against teams like El Campo, Bay City that have that tradition enriched inside their community. That's a big task in itself. Our goal is always the same. We always been talking about since day one is we're trying to play 16 games. We're trying to go out week by week, opponent by opponent, and be better than we were last Friday, and to be the best that we can be as an individual player, but also as a team. We stay with that motto week by week, whether it's the Needville, which will be a tough game for us at the end of the year, or if it's this week coming up against Kip Sunnyside.
He's Ray Garza. He's the head coach of the 1-0 Iowa Colony Pioneers. They will take on Kip Sunnyside coming up on Friday in hopes to move to 2-0. Coach, we sure appreciate your time. Congratulations again on the big win, and best of luck down the road.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all having me.
Absolutely. There he goes. Ray Garza, head coach of the Iowa Colony Pioneers, joining us here at Texas Football Today. A program that you are within your rights if you haven't heard of, right? Mm-hmm. You've heard of Katy, and you've heard of Amarillo.
Or Manville.
Or Manville.
In their
or
own
Alvin.
ISD.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or Shadow Creek.
Yeah.
But Iowa Colony is the new program down there in Alvin ISD, and there's a lot to like about them. Mm-hmm. There's a lot to like as far as we know that Alvin ISD is very talent-rich, and there were flashes last year of them getting better, and they did so with so many young pieces. I am very intrigued to see where they go this year. And certainly they sent a shockwave. I'm telling you guys, Fort Bend Christian, defending, I know it's hard to kind of triangulate private schools versus public schools. That was a TAPS Division II state champion last year.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I've been so impressed by what Coach Garza has done to really highlight those programs. You kind of take a look at some of the newer schools that have popped up, like Brian Cope at Lake Belton, I think is a great example of coaches that see themselves as the PR team for bringing people in and creating that tradition-rich history and all of that. And Coach Garza, he was a fantastic hire for them.
Fantastic stuff from Iowa Colony head coach Ray Garza. We appreciate his time. We're Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's, and of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Help you go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe to become Dave Campbell's Texas Football subscriber. If you subscribe to Dave Campbell's Texas Football, you also get Dave Campbell's Texan Live. which is our streaming platform, where we will have like 7,000 games this weekend. Is that too high?
Death.
It kind of feels like it, though, right?
It does. It does feel like it. It really does. We had 54 last weekend.
Yeah, and that's kind of par for the course around here.
Yep.
So if you love high school football or high school volleyball or just high school sports in the state of Texas, go to texasfootball.com/subscribe. You get access to thousands of Texas high school events, including hundreds of Texas high school football games, dozens each week. texasfootball.com/subscribe. Makes a great gift as well. Coming up here in just a moment, we are going to reveal the Week 2 Texas high school football rankings from Dave Campbell's Texas Football in conjunction with the Associated Press. But first, let's find out who's up for the Mr. Texas Football Player of the Week award.
Dave Campbell's Texas Football, in conjunction with the TaxAct Texas Bowl, is proud to give the Mr. Texas Football Player of the Week award, presented by Kroger, to the most deserving high schooler in the state of Texas. Each week, TexasFootball.com announces 10 candidates for that week's award based on the previous week's on-field performance. Congratulations to this week's 10 nominees. Fans, be sure to vote for the player you believe should be the Mr. Texas Football Player of the Week at TexasFootball.com. Voting closes Friday at noon, with the winner announced shortly after on TexasFootball.com. Thanks to Kroger and the TaxAct Texas Bowl for their continued support of Texas high school football and the Mr. Texas Football Player of the Week award.
One last thing to do today, Pickle, and that is
Rankin season.
to unveil the Week 2 Dave Campbell's Texas Football statewide Texas high school football rankings. Dave Campbell's Texas Football is the official rankings partner of the Associated Press. We have been since 2019. Very proud of that. So these are the official Texas high school football rankings of record. When people talk about the state rankings, they're talking about these, revealed exclusively here on Texas Football Today. Let's start in the largest classification, Class 6A, where there is some changes after Week 1, but not at the top. The top 10 remain entirely the same. Cibolo Steel nudges up 2 spots with their win over San Antonio Brennan. They leapfrog Lake Travis, who struggled a bit with Arlington Martin. That is certainly something we're keeping an eye on, but Lake Travis does have a tendency to start a little bit slow. Louisville up a couple of spots with their win over Garland, Naaman, Forest. North Crowley, Klein Collins, Rockwall, Humble Summer Creek, McKinney, and Byron Nelson also make some leaps here as they move up into the top 20. There are 4, the Woodlands, with their loss to Galena Park North Shore, drops 11 spots but hangs on in the top 25 at number 23. 4 newcomers to the rankings. Number 21, Pflugerville Weiss. Their win over Round Rock gets them at the number 21 spot. Katie Tompkins gets a 31-0 drubbing of Cy Ranch. That gets them in the number 22. Alvin Shadow Creek beats Manville, and that is good enough to vault them up to number 24. And Midland Legacy, Rebs are back, baby. Midland Legacy is back into the rankings at number 25 with their win over Amarillo to improve to 1-0. There's your Class 6A rankings. To 5A we go. 5A Division I Aledo remains the number 1 team. Longview falls a spot with their loss to McKinney, 23-21. Lancaster leapfrogs them to take their number after their win over Dallas Skyline. Mansfield Timberview is up a spot to number 4 with their win over South Grand Prairie. Port Arthur Memorial, very impressive with their win over Port Neches Groves. They're up 3 spots to number 5. Fulshire also up 3 spots with their win over Houston Straight Jesuit. Azle up 3 spots as well with their win. Frisco Reedy with their win over Azle. Smithson Valley drops their opener 17-16 to San Antonio Reagan. We dropped them 3 spots from number 6 to number 9. 2 newcomers to the rankings, and it's 2 teams you have heard about. Number 8, Denton Ryan. They survive a scare from New Braunfels once again, but come away with the win with a gutsy play call on the final play of the game. That vaults them up to number 8. And into the rankings for the first time, the pride of the Rio Grande Valley, PSJA North. They were winners over PSJA 41-0 in their opener. Over on Division 2, top 2 remain unchanged. Melissa is the number 1 team, followed by South Oak Cliff. We keep South Oak Cliff number 2. They're despite their loss to Duncanville. Part of that is because I'm not sure there was any team that really impressed cost us all that much to overtake them. Even with the loss, I think that they are the number 2 team in the state. Fort Bend Marshall up a spot with their win over Klein in the opener. Frisco Emerson is up 3 spots with their win over Hillcrest. Lovejoy, Montgomery Lake Creek, and Midlothian Heritage all up 3 spots as well with their wins over College Station, Angleton, and Smith and Stephenville, respectively. And then the bottom 3 entirely new. Number 8, Texas High vaults into the rankings with their win over Frisco Lone Star. Awfully impressive from the Tigers as they make it into the rankings, as does Mansfield Summit. Their win over Mansfield Lake Ridge is impressive enough to get them into the top 10. Same with Corpus Christi Flower Bluff, the pride of the Coastal Bend. Big win over state finalist Bernie last week, and that is good enough to put them into the number 10 spot in our 5A Division II rankings. To 4A we go. Over to the 4A rankings. This is going to be a bit of a mess. China Spring remains number 1 with their win over Lorena. Tyler Chapel Hill up a spot with their wild win over Gilmer, 71-53 if you didn't see that. Anna vaults 5 spots with their win over Decatur, 37-30. Extremely impressive from the Coyotes. They answered a lot of questions we had about them, and doing so, we wanted to put them up in the top 3, up to number 3. Bernie dropped 2 spots with their loss to Corpus Christi Flower Bluff. Salina up a spot to number 5. Stephenville down 2 spots. Same with Decatur after their loss to the aforementioned Anna. Kilgore remains the same at number 9 with their loss to number 1 Carthage in 4A Division 2. That is, we keep them at number 9 because of a 1-score loss to a number 1 team. 2 newcomers to the rankings though. Number 8 Bay City, they beat Sweeney to vault into the rankings at number 8, and San Antonio Davenport, the Wolves, are state ranked after their win over Victoria West. 4A Division 2, top 4 are unchanged. Carthage, Silsbee, Pleasant Grove with a rock fight win over Brock remains number 3, and then Cuero gets a big win over El Campo. Wimberley nudges up 2 spots. So does Belleville up to number 6. Waco Connolly is up to number 7. Jasper up to number 8. Gilmer drops 5 spots with their loss to Chapel Hill. They drop from number 5 to number 10, but hang on to a spot in the rankings. And new to the rankings, number 9 Hampshire Finette. They knock off Lumberton 35-20 to earn a spot in the 4A rankings. To 3A we go. 3A Division 1 is pretty chalky, at least at the very top. Franklin, Brock, Edna, Columbus, and Malakoff are still your top 5. Brock loses a 10-7 game to a state-ranked top 5 4A Division 2 team in Pleasant Grove. That's good enough for us to keep them at number 2, and especially considering what we saw last year with their slow start, I feel pretty good about keeping them there. I will tell you this, Franklin got in a bit of a war with Woodville, and we have got our eye on that. But Edna, Columbus, and Malakoff round out the top 5. Hitchcock nudges up a spot with their win. Come from behind win over Refugio. Bushland wins a wild one over Canyon West Plains. That gets him up to number 7. Grandview, very impressive win over Glenrose, 35-7. That moves him up to number 8. Winsboro moves up a spot to number 9. And new to the rankings, the Panthers of Paradise, the number 10 team in 3A Division 1 after their win over Cypress Community Christian. To 3A Division 2 we go. Canadian and Gunner, both big winners against an out-of-state team for Canadian and a private school team in Gunner. Tidehaven moves up a spot with their win over Goliad. Wall moves up 2 spots with their win over Eastland. The big winner this weekend was Hooks. The Hooks Hornets knock off Harmony 26-22. That's good enough to vault them up from number 10 to number 5, just ahead of the team that they beat in Harmony at number 6. Newton did not play. Their game with Anahuac was canceled due to the wildfires out in East Texas, but Holiday and Dangerfield hold on to the number 8 and 9 spots respectively. And new to the rankings, the Comanche Indians, big winners over Brady, they vault into the top 10 at the number 10 spot. To 2A we go, where let's do some rearranging. There's a new number 1 team in 2A Division 1. The Timpson Bears vault past Refugio to grab the number 1 spot. Timpson beat up on Beckville 50-13 without Terry Bussey, and that is good enough for us, especially in the wake of Refugio's loss to a very good Hitchcock team. We keep Refugio there at number 2. Toller nudges up 2 spots to number 3. Cooper nudges up 2 spots to number 4. Hawley down 2 spots with their loss to Jim Ned. Centerville up a spot with their win over Buffalo. Crawford up a spot with their win over Goldthwaite. They play this week. Stratford up 2 spots with their win over Spearman. A shutout win, by the way, 37-0. Beckville, their loss to Timpson. We dropped them from number 5 to number 9. I'm not ready to bury the Bearcats quite yet, but I do want to see something. And new to the rankings, number 10 Sonora, as they beat up on Ballinger 46-12 out of the rankings. Shiner, their loss to Hallettsville drops them from number 9 to unranked. To 2A Division II we go, where this was the chalkiest of them all. Top 8 entirely unchanged. All winners. Albany, Martin, Newhome, Wellington, Bremond, Collinsville, Chilton, Price, Carlisle, all winners. Falls City nudges up a spot with their win over 3 Rivers. Burton drops out from the number 9 spot, and in their place at number 10, the Bobcats of Sunray, who are now state ranked. And by the way, coming up this week, Sunray at Stratford. Going to be a very good test for both of these now state ranked squads. To the 6-man ranks, where, as is usual, everything went to hell in a handbasket.
Fair.
1A Division I got an entire makeover, including a new number 1. Westbrook loses to Knox City, and that vaults Gordon up to number 1 team in the state. Abbott moves up to number 2 with their win over Blum. Jonesboro gets a win over Coolidge. That vaults them up 2 spots to number 3. The Knox City Greyhounds, the hottest team in Texas, get a big win over a two-time defending champion Westbrook. That vaults them to number 4, right ahead of number 5 Westbrook. Rankin gets a big win over Balmorhea. That vaults him up a spot to number 6. May up a spot to number 7. Happy loses to Klondike 50-24. We drop them 4 spots from number 4 to number 8 because that's a pretty good Klondike team. But still, we drop them from number 4 to number 8. Buena Vista up a spot to number 9. Number 9 Medina drops out, and in their place, the newly ranked Antelopes of Whiteface, the number 10 team in Dave Campbell's Texas Football's 1A Division I rankings. To 1A Division II we go. The top 2 are unchanged. Benjamin and Oglesby, big winners over Follett and Penelope, respectively. Jayton vaults up a couple spots with an emphatic win over Garden City. Klondike was the big riser here. Their win over Happy vaults them from number 8 to number 4. Balmorhea drops a couple of spots with their loss to a Division I state-ranked Rankin team. Cherokee beats Smoking for Jesus. They move up a spot. Shout out Burnett. Number 7, they're in Burnett, right?
Cherokee?
Yeah, no, I mean
No.
Smoking for Jesus.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, they're in Burnham. Number 7, Newcastle's up a couple spots with their win over Roll. Wood Herald loses to Spring Lake Earth. We drop them 4 spots from number 4 to number 8. Oakwood up a spot with their win over Fruitvale. Lorraine drops out, and in their place at number 10, a familiar face, the Richland Springs Coyotes get a 50-0 win over High Island to move into the rankings. And in the private school ranks, it's chaos in the 11-man ranks. A new number 1 is Dallas Parish Episcopal loses to Alito. That's certainly nothing to turn your nose up at, but Dallas Christian's big win over Bishop Dunn was good enough for us to vault them to the number 1 team. Parish moves down to number 2. Houston St. Thomas remains steady at number 3. 2 newcomers as Plano Prestonwood and the Woodlands John Cooper drop out with losses. Austin Regents in at number 4 with their win over San Antonio Central Catholic, the Buttons. And number 5, Lubbock Christian now ranked with their win over Austin Hyde Park Baptist. But a round of applause to the private school 6-man ranks, who all behaved. Everyone won. All of them won pretty emphatically. The closest game, Baytown Christian beat Carrollton Prince of Peace 44-12. That was the closest of these 5. It remains unchanged. Fort Worth Covenant Classical, Pasadena First Baptist, Baytown Christian, Prestonwood North, and Abilene Christian rounds out your private school 6-man rankings and the Texas High School Football State rankings for Week 2 at Dave Campbell's Texas Football. You can find the complete rankings at texasfootball.com/rankings. There you have it. So now you can yell at me.
Correct.
Let's go over to Ashley Pickle for America's second favorite segment. Final thoughts.
I just want to say it one more time because we said it on the pre-show, but we did not say it on the actual show. For anybody who tuned in to Dave Campbell's Texas Football tonight this past Friday, thank you so much for tuning in. We hope that you will continue to spread the word about it. We'll be back every single Friday with a crew from all the Dave Campbell's people and then our students at the University of North Texas. But appreciate everybody tuning in who watched that, and we hope that you will join us again this Friday, 7:30 to 10 for free on Dave Campbell's Texan Live.
You know what? Tell a friend.
Yeah.
Tell a friend about Texas football tonight.
It's literally free.
Yeah. Just say, hey, do you like football?
Mm-hmm. You can pull it up on your phone if you're at the game and check in its scores across.
Check on your phone.
You can get the quad box.
You can quad box it on your phone.
That rules.
Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight coming up 7:30 p.m. Friday night. It's going to do it for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at texasfootball.com. Thanks again to Ray Garza, head coach of the Iowa Colony Pioneers, for being our guest. For Ashley Pickle, I'm Greg Tepper. Vince Young, please give me your Player of the Year trophy. We'll see you tomorrow on Texas Football Today.